Boys Under the Hood with James Stevenson and Pat Kelly.
That's your favorite song.
Rex and Effects.
Okay, I'm gonna pretend for a second that you did not know who that was. That just came right off the top of your mind right there. Rex and Effects.
I used to listen to that while wearing my Oakley thermonuclear. Do you remember those like jumpsuits, the tracksuits?
Yes,
Like 7th grade.
Yep.
It was like purple, kind of reflective. It was awesome.
James Stevenson from Precision Auto Repair joining us for Boys Under the Hood.
You know what else too? I had those like the lines above your ear, kind of like on the side of the steps. Remember those?
Oh,
Like
so you
the vanilla
didn't.
ice
So you
steps?
didn't just have the bi-levels, but you had the lines cut
No, dude.
above the lines above that.
If you had one step, you were a poser. You had to have like 2, 3, 4. Do you remember those things?
Oh, yeah.
The lines?
Yeah.
Yeah, bring those back. Those would look good on you,
I
Pat.
think Brian Bosworth might have invented those. Remember that guy?
The Boz. Yeah.
He had that.
Beast.
So checking out any Olympics or what, man?
I watched a little last night. I can't think of the girl's name, but she won in the half pipe.
Oh, Kim.
Yeah.
I have that somewhere.
That is incredible. Did you see like she did like 2 1080s? It was incredible.
I don't know how they move their bodies that way.
I don't know.
And that's a relatively
It's
new
amazing.
sport too in the Olympics. The the snowboarding. It's only been around for a couple, maybe 2, 3 Olympics here so far.
Yeah, Shaun White seems to still own that.
Yeah.
Did he go last night? I mean, I go to bed by like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
He did, and that's the thing about the Olympics is so right now something is happening at the Olympics, right? Like this second.
They're 12 hours ahead.
Right, so they won't show it till later. But here I am reporting sports, and I'm ruining it for everybody who wants to watch it at 6 o'clock. So I kind of pick and choose what I talk about.
Everybody's gonna see it in their social media news feed anyways. So.
I'm getting ready for the big curling final tonight. I love that sport. I don't know why, but it's like something. Have you seen this? Right?
The curling, yeah.
Yeah, it's like shuffleboard but on ice.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I'm fascinated with it. It's just such a slow, kind of weird, but I'm just glued to it. I'm like,
They just like mop the or sweep.
yeah,
the
they sweep the
sweep
front
the
like
ice.
that. Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way than to get in front of the thing and sweep it away like that.
How about that speed skating? That is awesome to me.
Those guys and girls are out of their minds.
It's so fast. I mean, those guys are girls too. I mean, they're moving. That's really cool.
Well, the skates are like 3 feet long too. Like the blade part of it, you can get tangled up easy there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's our Olympic analysis. Join us tomorrow for another.
Yeah, everything's good.
Everything's
it's really
going-
cool.
yeah, everything's really cool, man. I'm really excited about USA Sports for 3 weeks, and then we'll give it another 4 years. You're back from San Diego. What's it like on the West Coast?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's 80 degrees, sunny, no clouds. I mean, everybody's nice. It's just like a beautiful place. I had to go out there for training for all last week, so it was nice. Learn some of the new things, what's hot in the industry, and better management techniques and all that cool stuff. You know, if you're not always learning and growing, then you're shrinking because somebody else is learning and growing.
So did you take time to have some fun out there, or was it just strictly business?
No, not really. I mean, I went to dinner. You got to eat, right? But other than that, no, it's just studying.
Oh, it's 80 degrees out, sunshine. You're studying all the time.
I don't know, man.
Oh.
Creature, I'll party when I retire in 20 years.
Are you quitting in 20 years?
No, I probably can't.
God, I hope you do. That's so great, man. You deserve. You worked hard. All right, we're taking car care questions. You can text them to 77,000 if you like. You can also log on to James's Facebook page, the Precision Auto Repair Facebook page, or log on to Lazer99.3.com and submit them there. Let's get right into it, James. What do you say?
Let's go, man.
Samantha from Florence is driving a 2007 Jeep Patriot. She says she has a new issue that just started Friday. She's trying to put gas in the tank, and it keeps shutting off. The gas pump keeps shutting off. She's able to put 10 cents in. She says the metal piece where you put the nozzle in is a little bit loose, like that little flap. She says, does it just need to be tightened?
All right, Samantha. So, unfortunately, that's kind of a common problem, or fortunately, whatever way you'd want to look at it. This issue is usually accompanied by a check engine light. So it'll be like a little orange light on your dash, and it'll look like a little picture of of like a little motor. All right, it'll come on. It probably shouldn't be flashing for this issue, but it's probably come on and gone off, or maybe it's just on all the time. The issue that you're experiencing has to do with something called the evap system. I can get into explaining it technically, but obviously, people will probably fall asleep while they're listening. So the easiest way to explain that is there's only so much, you've got a gas tank, right? And the gas tank, when it's full, it's 100% full of gasoline, right? Or gas. So as the level gets a little bit lower, you've got fuel vapor in the tank, right? The gas fumes.
That makes sense,
so to speak.
above the actual liquid.
Exactly, and that actually, it needs to get vented out, but it can't just go out into the world because it'll pollute. So it has to go through this system called the evap system. When people say, "Oh yeah, my check engine light's on because I left the gas cap off," that has to do with this evap system. So it monitors how much vapor is leaving the system, and it actually regulates it so that it goes through this thing called a charcoal canister, and it purifies it, and then it lets it out into the world as clean, breathable air.
Okay, so I thought that it just released it, and I've had my my check engine light go on a couple times along the way with newer cars.
Yeah.
With my older cars back in the day, not so much, and I never knew what that was.
Yeah.
So it just they don't allow it to just escape into the atmosphere. This is the filtration system you're talking about here.
Exactly. Yeah. A filtration system. Sure. Yeah. That's a good way to sum it up. I mean, there's a whole lot more to that system. But again, I mean, people would fall asleep if you're like, well, it's got to do this,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, just the long and short of it is that that system purifies the, that vapor that's in there. So it vents it out in a very controlled manner. Now, if there's some type of a blockage or a restriction in that system, a valve's not doing what it needs to do, there's a problem there, then when you go to fill that tank, it's just going to keep clicking because it's not going to let anything vent through. There's a couple other little things that it can be, but it's typically, for the most part, what I've seen is that there are a couple valves in that system that tend to go bad. It's not something that you're going to really be able to diagnose on your own, or if you go to like a parts store or something like that, they're just going to throw a bunch of parts at you and tell you to do that. A lot of them are underneath the vehicle, so it's not really a repair that maybe you or a friend might be able to do on your own. That's going to be something that you're just going to want to grab a professional and have them do that. What we do is we actually test the valves. So, a lot of people think that if you just have like a scan tool, they always, not always, but people come in and they say, well, you got the computer will tell you everything that's wrong with it. It doesn't, right? So what you have to do with that computer is you hook it up, the computer says, hey, look, yeah, there's a problem in the evap system.
So they give you like it's in this area.
You have the whole car, and it points. It says, hey, look. For the most part, it doesn't physically show a picture of the car and have a pointer. You know what I mean? But
Right.
It just tells you. It says, hey, look, there's a problem in this area of the car, and then it's up to a real technician to figure it out. And then from there, you do something called bidirectional testing, and you're testing different valves and things like that. It sounds complex. It's second nature, you know what I mean? Like, I look at that switchboard that you got over there in front of you to make, everybody hear what we're talking about and what you're doing. I wouldn't know what the heck to do with that thing if I walked over there right now, but you use it every single day, it's just second nature. It's the same thing with diagnosis, testing wiring and testing all these sensors and things like that. So the point to all of this, Samantha, is just get it into a shop. I mean, we can take care of that for you. Just call the office, make an appointment, and it's a fairly simple test, but you most likely have an issue in that system, whether it's a blockage in the line, a bad valve, or something simple there that is easily corrected, and you'll be able to fill your gas tank without having to start it and stop it and start. That must be so aggravating.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
10 cents at a time.
If she's anything like my wife too, she waits till the tank is like empty, on fumes. My wife just got a new car maybe a couple weeks ago, and so she says, oh, I like my new car because it lets me go longer when the gas light is on. I'm like, you're not.
You are the wrong person to say that to.
We're in the car the other day, and she says that to me. She goes, yeah. She goes, I like this one better because I can go longer with the gas light on than I could in my other car. Like, what? You can go? It doesn't mean you can go longer.
No, that's not a thing to challenge.
Because this one, it'll come on.
Let's see how long I can go before I run out of gas.
Hilarious. She goes, because it says distance to empty. So
Right.
she's like, yeah, it says I can go 40 more miles when the light comes on, where the other car was only 20 more miles. So I've got longer to go. Should be filling up your tank.
No, so you're listening to Boys Under the Hood. This is James Stevenson from Precision Auto Repair in West Springfield. Now, while we're on that subject, I have always heard that it's not good for your car to run your tank almost dry like that because
it's terrible
because it picks up particles in the bottom of the tank. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. So some cars, most cars now, they have a filter in the tank. Somebody actually just asked this question on Facebook last night on our company Facebook page. People ask questions all the time. A lot of the content that we get for this show is right through those questions, and actually, I think 80% of the content that we get is through Facebook questions and questions on like our Facebook wall and everything like that. So keep those coming. But one of the questions the kid asked yesterday is, where's the fuel filter in, I believe it was a Nissan Rogue. But that vehicle doesn't really have like what's called a serviceable fuel filter. A serviceable fuel filter would be one that you would replace under normal scheduled intervals. It's kind of easy to change. It disconnects or unscrews or something. It's in line on the way to the engine. A lot of cars have something called a strainer. And the strainer, it's a filter that's in the tank, but it doesn't really get serviced unless there's a problem with it. It looks like a little sock. They're usually made of like a specific type of nylon that won't melt in the fuel tank, and that'll keep you from kind of sucking in a lot of that sediment, but it's not foolproof, you know? So at the bottom of the tank, just over time, sometimes
stuff gets in there.
Yeah, stuff gets in there. So, whether it was, one of the things that we've seen is cars will tend to have issues if they're, say, at a gas station, and then they're filling up the big tanks at the gas station. Because as they're dumping all that fuel in the tank, there's sometimes sediment in the bottom of those tanks, and it kind of gets stirred up. And I know there's filters on the pump and everything like that, but you'll find that people's car will be driving perfectly. They'll fill up at a specific time like that, and then you'll find that there's some type of fuel contamination. So, even if you're going to the best gas station, unfortunately, these things can sometimes happen. I'm not saying stay away from gas station or anything. It's just these are things that sometimes happen. That's how the sediment will get in the bottom of the tank. So just normal service usually doesn't take care of that. It just pay attention to your level. Don't drive it till it's completely empty. There's a million other reasons why you don't want to drive your vehicle until it's on E, and you never want to tell your husband that you can just drive the car further.
Your husband who happens to own a car repair station.
Oh my,
that's so big.
My wife is hilarious. Yeah.
We need to take a quick break here, okay?
Sounds good, man.
Pat Kelly in the morning. It's 8:21. We're here with James Stevenson of Precision Auto Repair. It's Boys Under the Hood.
Boys Under the Hood with James Stevenson and Pat Kelly.
Rex and effects. Okay, what's going on, James? How are you?
This was the jam, man. I had the Oakley tracksuit, and then I had like the cassette, like the Walkman player.
Yeah.
Remember the cassettes?
Oh yeah.
And then remember the Discmans?
Oh, well,
And you would have you had to walk, and you had to hold them like a waiter holding a tray,
Right.
so that they didn't skip.
Right. They weren't much like if you bumped them or something. But when those Discman came out, I was drooling over that. I was like, my God. Yeah, I never had one. But
You could listen to all of 2 songs until the batteries died.
that's right. And now compact discs are already out. Best Buy's not even selling them anymore.
Oh no.
No, they're stopping. They're going to focus more on like Twizzlers and Butterfingers like they do. Who made that great idea? Let's lose the CDs, but more malted milk balls.
Oh jeez.
So I had to tell you this because a couple weeks ago we were talking about radiators. Someone had a leak in their radiator. Over this past weekend, I found some of that pour into the radiator.
Oh yeah, the stop leak.
Find the hole. I threw it away.
Yeah, good.
Don't tell Kim.
Good man.
As soon as I saw, I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's bad stuff.
We're not
It's
doing
bad
this.
news.
We're not doing this. Okay, so we are taking your car care questions. You can send them into lazer99.3.com or just log on to Facebook and drop them on James' Facebook page, Precision Auto Repair. This question comes from Peg in Northampton, who drives a 1999 Mercury Sable. She says, "Why don't I have any heat? I'm really cold when going places in my car." She has no heat. That could be. Would you know right off the top of the thing there?
No, I mean she gives a little bit more information. It says it happens whenever she's driving it, and it's been happening for a few weeks. She says that they have made some repairs towards it. She says my husband keeps adding coolant to it, but I don't know if it's I don't know where it's going because there's nothing on the ground. He might have added it to the wrong place. Okay, so
no, is the car overheating?
She's not saying that.
So why would he add coolant to it if there's
I can assure you that the car is overheating.
Okay.
I can assure you that the car is overheating. So you need coolant to keep the car cool in the summer from overheating, and then you also need it so that it doesn't overheat. Right, the coolant circulates around. It doesn't overheat. It creates heat inside the car, so the coolant by nature gets hot.
Right.
And depending on your car, it's going to sit anywhere between probably 180 to 200 degrees, something in there. Somebody's probably like, "That's wrong." Well, all cars are different, so it's just some.
I love how you imitate the other. There's always somebody. "Oh, that's wrong."
I had one guy call me I had one guy call me maybe a month ago. And I got to tell you that the feedback that we get from the show, it's really, really good, you know, and you get a lot of people that ask questions that we answer just kind of throughout the week, and it just feels good to be able to help people and give them that kind of somewhat unbiased, opinion as to where they should go and what they should do, you know, because, you know, we don't really always recommend our shop. Obviously, we want everybody to come to us, but
last
we
week
don't
you-
always promote it. You know, we
You recommended like 10 other shops. I had to stop you from recommending shops last week.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and it's it feels good to do that. You know, and obviously we want everybody to come to us, but if they don't, you know, whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is that somebody called up maybe a month ago, and the guy was like, I think we were talking about oil changes, and I said, you know, it's probably not a good idea to use these high mileage engines and try to go 15, 20,000 miles between intervals. So I leave here and I get back to the shop, and the phones are ringing, and you know, we've only got so many people to answer phones. So when the lines ring over to my office, I pick up the phone and I said, you know, thanks for calling Precision Auto Repair. This is James. How can I help you? And he goes, just the man I wanted to speak to.
And you're like, oh boy.
So I said, you know, because you get some people that call up and that's just how they speak. So I said, you know, who's this? And the guy gives his name, and he says, you know, I wanted to talk to you about your radio segment earlier today. I said, all right, well, you know, what's going on? How can I help you? You know, what'd you think? And he goes, you know, I wanted to talk to you and correct you about your oil change intervals. And I said, okay, well, great. You know, welcome to any feedback that you have, you know, positive or negative, because it helps you grow, right?
Right.
This guy goes, have you ever read the side of an oil can? I said, well, they don't come in cans anymore. I didn't say that, but I was like, you know, no, I didn't read the.
It's been a while.
You know, I didn't read the bottle. You know, and the first thing I think of is the remember that movie, The Jerk? He's shooting at the cans. Yes. He hates the cans. The cans, you know. So the guy said, have you ever read the side of an oil can? And I said, no, I haven't read the side of a bottle lately, you know. But you know, we go to different training periodically throughout the year to learn about the best oils and this and that, whatever. He goes, you know, there is nothing wrong with a 20,000 mile interval. And I said, well, you know, I happen to disagree. You know, I said, based on what we see, I said 20,000 miles is just far too long to service the vehicle. And he was like, well, you know, I've been going 20,000 miles for years, and you know, it's fine, and my wife does too. And I said, well, you know, that's great. You know, so I kind of, I don't know, we ended up talking, it smoothed the conversation over, but do not go 20,000. The guy's wrong. Just flat out. Do not. Because an oil change is so much more than.
He's going to call you again now. He's going to call you today.
He was a nice guy.
All right.
He's just, you know, but the reality is, an oil change is so much more than just an oil change. You know, so while we call it an oil change and it seems self-explanatory, there are so many little things that you need to look at, right? Because you drive the vehicle, you hit a pothole every time you step on the brakes wear down, there's other fluids and things like that. So there are a whole bunch of things that the shop needs to check on the vehicle periodically throughout the year before it blows up. Wouldn't you rather know, hey, look, I know in 6 months I'm going to have to do brakes, or I know I'm going to have to replace this ball joint probably, you know, in the fall or something like that, rather than just, oh, crap, like, I got a real problem here. This thing fell off the car. You know, I need to have my AAA because I've got to have the vehicle towed all the time, that type of thing. Wouldn't you rather know that you're going to have problems arising? Wouldn't you rather know when you're supposed to have the service, or would you rather just do damage control?
No,
you go to start the vehicle and you're like, oh, it's making a noise because you have no oil in it.
No,
No, man.
it makes way more sense to bring in the car every 2 years, James.
Yeah.
Than it does.
I think I don't know if we have it on here today, you know, for one of the questions, but you know, that was kind of something that somebody had touched on, like, you know, should they be maintaining, like, what is the best type of vehicle? I know we're jumping around, which is kind of uncharacteristic, right? Obviously, because we do that every single week.
Whoops.
But you know, one of the other I'm sorry, to answer this, Peg, your question, you got a problem, you've got a coolant leak, bring it in, get it looked at, have your husband stop adding coolant to it. You're going to blow it up. You're going to create a real big problem. The vehicle is 100% overheating. That's why you have no heat. Get it into a shop, ASAP, get it looked at. On to the next one. Now, this guy asks about, like, what's the best car to buy? All right?
And that was the question. That was the question. What is the best car to buy?
Right, and that's kind of a loaded question, right? Because cars are made a lot better than they used to be years ago.
Right.
You know, and you can ask anybody. You know, you ask a Ford guy, he says Chevy's junk, right? You ask a Chevy guy, he says, you know, Ford is junk. You ask both of those guys, and they say, no, don't buy any Euro stuff. You ask the Euro guys, and they say the American stuff's junk, right? So it doesn't really, it's all speculative. You know,
It's like asking a NASCAR fan which brand of car to buy.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Very.
You don't want to do that.
No.
Yeah, you don't.
Very loyal to their
Yeah,
brand.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, and so it's very speculative, right? Everybody's going to have good and bad experiences with both. It all comes down to maintenance, because you'll have a BMW guy, and he says, BMW is the best car in the world, and then you'll have somebody else that drives a BMW, and they say it's the worst car in the world. But then if you kind of dissect that and you look at, all right, well, one guy maintains his vehicle, right? He follows the manufacturer's service intervals, and he comes in regularly, and he knows that there's, he has a plan. He knows when he's going to have to do things, and he can plan, and he can budget, and he can do that stuff. Then there's somebody else that just, goes 20,000 miles between service because they bought oil that cost $1 more a can, and they think that it's going to, I'm using can there. But $1 more a can, and they think that it's going to last, that much longer. That's not necessarily true. One, you're doing a disservice to your engine, and then two, overall, just the overall health of your vehicle. Like, you're not maintaining it properly. Your vehicle should not go that long without other fluids being changed, filters being checked, other things, just normal safety items being checked. Even something as simple as your your wipers and light bulbs and little things like that. Like, there are a lot of little things that go into what people would categorize as an oil change that don't necessarily get seen, right? When you're like, that's what most people think. Oh, I need an oil change. I need an oil change. No, you got to have your car checked over a couple times.
Well,
that's why. And that's all just part of the oil change.
That's why they have the checklist.
Yeah, absolutely.
They ask you questions. They look at your filters. They show you the filter. Do you want it? I did my own air filters just because it's like 3 times as much to have somebody else do it.
Yeah.
But easy stuff like that. But
those are simple.
But they still go through all that stuff
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, and a lot of shops, I know that we do a what's called a digital inspection. So we send customers pictures of everything. Don't take my word for it. The proof is in the picture.
Right.
And at any time, some customers don't care for the pictures, but some do. And it's mostly it's a tool to build trust, right? Because it's one thing for us to say, it's another for us to show you. So we a lot of new customers really like that, but some people just don't care about the pictures. But I mean, it's about being as transparent as possible. Hey, look, this is what your car needs and why, and then you educate your customer, and then you keep the customer for years because they are used to making very well-informed, educated decisions on, what to do, why to do it, when to do it, that type of thing. So, when somebody asks, like, what's the best car, it's up to you. Every car is going to be terrible for you if you don't maintain your car, and every car is going to be terrible for you if you are in that mindset that, well, I can change my oil every 20,000 miles and don't do anything else. You get that customer that'll come in every once in a while too. Oh, just change the oil. Don't look at anything. And you get that car in and legally, right? Not just ethically, right? But legally and obviously ethically, we have to make sure that your car is safe. It's not that we have to fix it, but we've got to at least inform you. Hey, look, Pat, like, your wheel is falling off the car. I know you said not to check this other stuff, but like, your wheel is falling off the car, or you have no brakes. And people will be like, but I got a vacation in a week. Yeah, I've heard that.
Well, that makes
sense.
It's
not all the time. Yeah, oh my goodness. It's if you knew how many cars are actually like really, really, really unsafe, you probably wouldn't drive. If you know how many cars are driving around on the road right now that are like really unsafe, you wouldn't get in your car. And sometimes it's intentional, right? People are just like, I don't really care. I'm going to get a new car in 6 months. I don't care if the wheel falls off in the meantime.
Right.
Other people, it's a budget issue. You know what I mean? It's just, this thing came up and I got to pay rent, or I got to have a cell phone. We got to pay daycare, and those are the people that you really feel for. But the new inspection system, while some people on the surface would look at it and they say, this isn't a good thing, it's a really, really good thing. It's a really good thing. I know it's kind of a pain with all the cameras and things like that, but that's going to take a lot of these unsafe vehicles, and it's going to really obviously force people to make sure that they're safe.
You know who it's a pain in the ass for is the people who have not been complying with getting their cars done right.
I feel no pain at all for the people that do it intentionally. And that may be a terrible thing to say, right? Because some people just don't. They're like, the guy that comes in and says, don't look at anything, I'll figure it out on my own, mechanics are all dishonest, just change my oil, And then he comes in and you tell him he's got stuff wrong with it, I don't care. And he comes back in 6-8 months and same thing, don't look at anything. I know you looked at stuff last time, don't look at anything. Okay, great. You know what? That's fine. But the young girl that is just out of college, she's just starting a new job, she just is, up to her eyes in student loan debts and things like that, and she's got a problem with her car, and she just legitimately has no help, doesn't have family that has a lot of money, and she's just trying to make it day to day. We feel bad for that girl. We make exceptions and try to do whatever we can for people like that. And we also have our Repair It Forward program once a year where we give out $3,000 a year to to people that need stuff. That is the type of person that we try to help. We feel bad for, not the guy that's just doing it intentionally because he's hard-headed. Like we don't even actually want him to come in. Because if you have no interest in fixing your car and making sure that your car runs properly, what are you doing?
Why are you bringing it in to get it looked at and fixed if you have no interest in getting it fixed?
We love helping people, but I think there's a long list and there's a long line of people that legitimately look for help and could use help. Somebody that's just very hard-headed and stubborn, and they, are yelling at you about telling them not to change their oil every 20,000 miles. It's a different type of person. I think anybody can see the distinct differences there.
You're listening to Boys Under the Hood. Pat Kelly joined by James Stevenson from Precision Auto Repair in West Springfield. Let's do one more here.
Sure.
This is from Casey in Granby, who drives a 2005 Honda. And this is why I was laughing while you were talking. The question, the question says, I don't have a car question, but heard you talking about your apprentice program that you have at your shop. I love cars, but don't really want to work on them. Are there other jobs that I can do? And if so, do you have programs like the apprentice program, but for these other positions that aren't quite so dirty? We're back after this.
That was a good one, Casey. Well, the automotive industry in general is, if you want to be around cars, it's dirty.
If you mind getting oil on your fingers, probably not a good occupation for you.
Oh boy! I mean, the days of guys walking around covered in grease and having grease in their hair and real filthy, grimy looking guys. That's kind of those guys are few and far between now. And mechanics don't even like to be called mechanics anymore. They like to be called technicians. You got to be like almost like a computer programmer.
Well, I think you got to be a little more rounded these days as well than you even 20 years ago, right? You need to know more overall about what's happening with the car, right?
To be a good technician, you've got to be very smart. You have to be very smart. The days of just knowing how to do a brake job are long gone. That guy may do good in his backyard or his garage or something like that. But I mean, these cars, again, I think we talked about it once before, they're driving themselves. They're all electric. There's all kinds of, cool new systems and things that we could, sit here and talk about for days. But you gotta be on your game. You gotta be smart. And never mind, you've got to know how to fact check everything that you're doing, because you're taking people's lives in your hands every single day with every single car that you work on. You gotta be, you can't have a bad day. If that makes sense, your bad day could kill someone or cost someone a lot of unnecessary money if you're not paying attention. So you got to be real smart. The good news for you, Casey, is our apprentice program is awesome. We've already filled our quota of apprentices for the year. So we've hired. We ended up having. We had a lot of applicants, and we had a lot of really, really good applicants. Not that we don't always have really, really good ones, but we had some really, really good ones. It was tough to make the decision this year. We ended up hiring more than we needed, but the more techs you have, the more work you turn out, and we have a strong demand for it. So we're not really worried about that.
That's good.
And we're also in the process of opening a second shop. So if we overstaff now, then we're just staffed up when we open a second building.
I can't wait for you to do that.
Aside from that, yeah, Casey, one of the things that we have, there's always positions in the office, right? Because all the bills come in, you've got to tally all that stuff. There's people that answer the phones, receptionists. There's people that are called service writers or service advisors, service manager positions. So there are a lot of office positions that can allow you to be passionate about what you're doing, right? If you like cars and you want to be around cars, and they're not really dirty positions. You can dress however you want, dress obviously professionally, you know what I mean? You dress nicely, and you don't have to be in the shop changing oil and doing stuff like that. I know that most of our positions that we hire for, We hire people, right? We just want people that care about people. And then they'll take care of the customers, right? If somebody genuinely cares about other people and genuinely want to help people, that is what we look for. That's our qualifications. We don't really hire people that are fully trained and know how to do the job, because it's easier for us to teach them how to do it the way that we want to do it rather than try to break someone of bad habits.
Right.
So, Casey, I don't know what your background is, but much like our apprentice program, we are hiring what are called service writers or receptionists, or both positions, actually two. One is a little bit more involved, and it takes a lot more training because you've got to learn a lot about cars and our systems and things like that. It's not an easy position to learn, but it's very rewarding. And then one is more of like a receptionist position, where it's a lot of clerical, a lot of ordering stuff, tallying things, and stuff like that. But you can either give us a call at the shop, 413-363-0306. You can speak to as for Jennifer or myself. We can explain to you a little bit about that, or you can email us over info@precisionautorepair.biz, B as in boy, I-Z, or you can just email us right through our website, and we can explain a little bit more about that. But we are, like I said, we're looking to open a second shop within the next 6 months. Not looking like we're on pace to do that. So we'll be kind of doing a mass hiring. You can jump out in front of the pack now if you want to make it a little bit easier for everybody. But I mean, we love hiring people that also are very experienced with like service, right? Like bartenders, people that are used to dealing with people, sometimes at their best, sometimes at their worst, servers, things like that.
You got to be a people person.
Right.
Look, if you're on the front lines of any business, not just auto repair, you got to be a people person.
Yeah.
You can't. Let's quick story. Did business with someone yesterday, and got our stuff right, and we checked out, and I go thank you, and she goes, yep. I'm like, thank you. She goes, yep. I'm like, so I turned to Kim, I'm like, how hard is it to say you're welcome? Right? It's just like basic communication skills. You need to be that person if you're going to be in the front line.
You have to be.
If someone says thank you, you don't say yep.
If you don't care about people, you have no business talking to people.
Right.
I think everybody has a story about bad customer service, right? And then sometimes it's perceived bad customer service because whatever the case was. But like closing of a sale, so to speak, isn't when you. It's not when you say, hey Pat, you need to do this job. It's $10, and you say, okay, great. We got him. We made $10. It's not that. The closing of the sale, so to speak, right? At least for us, when the sale is complete, right? We don't call it closing. The sale is complete when the follow-up is made. So there were a lot of interactions up to that point. You called, we had to explain to you what the service was going to be, build value in what we're doing, so that help you understand what the process is going to be. Because most people call and they say, well, how much is it for brakes? Well, Mr. Customer, we need to take a look at it because I don't know what it's going to be.
Right.
If I went off what everybody's estimates would, or at what other people's friends or their other mechanics said or whatever, we would constantly be pulling in cars and putting on parts that will never fix a problem. And that's just the harsh reality of it. If you want us to guarantee our work and make sure that your main concern is going to be fixed, we need to look at it. And if that's not for you, then just don't come into us, right? We want to know that what we're doing is going to fix your issue and you're going to be all set. So it starts with educating the customer. Then you actually figure out what's going on with the car, and then you educate the customer again. Hey, Mr. Customer, this is what it needs. This is why it failed. That type of thing. They come in, they pay for the service. Then you explain to them again. Hey, Mr. Customer, it was a great decision that you did this. Pat, you needed brakes, and it was a great idea to do it because you need to stop.
Right.
And this will help you do that. And these are the parts that we used, and these are why this is why they're good. This is the warranty, all that other good stuff. You go through it again. Make the customer happy. Make them understand, that they made a good decision. Hey, Pat, but you also left this out. You still need to do your, whatever it would be. Then you follow up. Hey, is everything okay? Because sometimes we make a mistake. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're human. They're nuts and bolts turned by human hands. It is not going to be perfect every single day. So for us, at least, the sale, so to speak, it's not complete until we've done the follow up. Something like that. If somebody was working in my company and obviously trained, and they just said, yeah, here's your keys. we would have a very, very serious problem.
It seems like such a small thing, but it is such a big thing when you're in customer service.
Common courtesy.
It's customer service. It's what it's called. You know, if you hate going to your job and if you hate being nice to people, you need to get out of that part of the business.
Well, that's the thing too. Sometimes you just have the wrong people. Sometimes now good people can have bad days, right? I know I said you can't have a bad day.
That too.
Good people can absolutely 100% have bad days. And they're overstimulated.
Right.
The girl that maybe you were dealing with, she could have just gotten off the phone with something, or her kid is sick and now she's got to leave, but she can't afford to be out of work or something, and then you just happen to catch the brunt of it. Or maybe she's just a miserable person, one or the other, In most cases, when somebody, at least when we interact with people, and most people are really nice, but once, when you interact with somebody that's mean, there's usually something else going on. And I got to tell you, 9 out of 10 times they apologize for it later. Hey, look, I'm sorry I took this out on you. This was going on or that was going on. So you just try to take that with a grain of salt. But usually we're on the customer service end, not the rude end. You know what I mean? We're not on the other end of it. So I'm sorry if you had a bad experience somewhere.
I got to take a quick break here.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back and give out $25.
Cool, man.
It's Boys Under the Hood.
Boys Under the Hood with James Stevenson and Pat Kelly.
Don't be jealous of my dance moves.
The dancing is
Did you see that?
Really, that's the cherry on top.
You see my triple chin was moving there while I was boogieing like that.
Was that a twerk?
I will try to. This is radio. I'll try to do that. Okay, so James Stevenson from Precision Auto Repair in West Springfield. We've been here for the last half an hour talking about car care and repairs and maintenance and stuff like that. Boys Under the Hood. We're joined by Lenny. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on?
So you
The
had
boss in the room.
had something very important to talk about here.
So I got a buddy that works in Kansas City at a radio station, and I'm telling him about banana milk. And he's like, I'm destroying him. I mean, like literally, I'm like, you need to try banana milk. And I use the line, banana milk will change your life. And
I
like,
just stole from you.
Finally, he tries it. He sees it in the store and he buys it. He sends me a picture of him buying it. He's like, okay, I'm going to try the banana milk. Like 4 days later, I get like this text, and he goes, bro, banana milk. I mean, amazing. He goes, who told you about this? Because I know it's not you. And I go, this is a guy named James Stevenson. He's a mechanic here in town. He's on the air with us. And he said, banana milk will change your life. So I walk up to Pat and go, what is he talking about banana milk about?
Right.
I go, what does that have to do with like a car? He goes, no, we're just talking about other stuff. I go, and I tried it. And now I'm like, and it's perfect with coffee.
Oh, but Lenny puts
And
in
that's
his
the
coffee
thing,
like
is
that.
that you put a little banana milk in coffee, and like you are good to go.
I want to contact the people that make banana milk and have them sponsor Boys Under the Hood. Can we do that?
We absolutely should.
Could we send
but
someone?
I've now made a convert thanks to you. So.
Oh no! And just to be clear, back when it was happening, James, it's not like he was even joking. He looked at me as serious as he could, and he's like, "It'll change your life."
Yeah, no, he wasn't kidding. There was no joke there. There was literally no joke.
Don't,
Mr. Bananas.
don't try the chocolate.
Sir bananas.
Sir bananas.
Sir
That's right.
bananas.
And they make the chocolate banana milk as well.
Which one?
Do you have
which one
the
do
straight
your
up?
have?
The regular banana.
Just regular,
Yeah, he
just-
started with the banana.
Just banana milk.
So chocolate's
meat.
good too, because I haven't tried that one yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if you're a chocolate guy,
Well, yeah,
that's
sure.
the way to go.
Okay.
I'm gonna put that into a blender with vanilla ice cream, the chocolate banana milk, and see how that. Some ice cubes in there, see how that works out.
Yeah, that's.
It's almost
we need
evil.
one.
You can probably put booze in that too. I'm just saying.
I bet rum would go good with that.
I don't.
James is like,
James
he's like,
like
it's,
overload.
It's 10 to 9 right now.
There's no way to prepare for that. That's it's good stuff. And then you know with the Cheerios. So you gave me the Pat gave me a box of the peanut butter and
chocolate Cheerios.
Cheerios.
No.
And then you mix those in with the banana milk.
That's good too.
The top of your head will blow off.
Yeah, yeah, I'm willing to go there. Yeah.
Wow. This is, ever thought about a career in radio? We've got your topics, the hot topics.
Welcome to Banana Talk.
Welcome to Banana Talk.
Yeah.
I'm going to call up Sir Bananas and see if they'll do something funny. Even if we can like give out a half gallon a week or something, that'd be fun.
Did you ever watch that show, Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh,
Yes.
sure.
You ever watch that?
Yeah, yeah.
And how Larry David's always talking about getting the urinal in the car so he doesn't have to pull over.
Yes.
I don't know why that just popped up in my head. Right now, completely, off topic, but.
Have you thought about a career in radio, James? This is going well.
That's
what I do.
I thought Lenny was walking in today to fire me.
No,
I
we
said,
never
I
do
said a
that.
bad word.
No, no.
So James said hell earlier. Just let it slip out. You know,
I'll take you out back.
He's like,
Chill out.
but he's like, I don't know what the heck you're doing. And then off air, he was all apologetic about it. He's like, sorry, man, I didn't mean to say that. I'm like, you know, if that's the worst thing you ever say,
Yeah,
it's
no,
fine.
you're
Oh my
fine.
goodness,
You'll be good.
my language, like
Well, you're-
you know, and then when we were, I don't know, you know, if when you were a kid, but I mean, I remember the first time I said like a bad word, and my mom, you know, my mom was the disciplinary in our household, and she was like, I had to put like a bar of soap in the mouth, like what was it, Ralphie from the Christmas Story, you know, so I really, you know, I got in trouble for that. Now these kids are eating soap.
purposely.
And I read an ad the other day that they're going to make the soap taste worse. What tastes worse than soap?
If they were smart, they'd make the soap taste better so the kids would eat it. These guys are not sales driven. If I'm a sales driven guy, make the soap taste better.
Does no one believe in natural selection anymore? I'm all for
Oh,
it. You want to go? Go.
I would never stop anybody from eating
I'm not
detergent.
gonna, listen, I got a
Unless
list
it was
of,
my kid.
I have a list of people I would like to eat soap. And if we can get those people to eat the soap, I'm all for it.
I would have loved to have been in the room the first time somebody was like, hey, you know what would be a good idea, Pat? Eat some of this dish soap.
Put that in your mouth
Do
right
it.
now.
Pat, you know what, Lenny? Pat won't eat that dish soap.
There's no possible
He
way.
couldn't.
Get
Yeah,
the
he
peer
couldn't.
pressure.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
We gotta get going.
all right, I'll leave.
No, it's fun, but
Okay.
we got stuff.
You do your thing.
I got elements. And
Well,
things.
thank you. Thank you very much.
See you later.
Do you have banana milk in that coffee?
I don't. I'm out, and I'm actually really angry because I got like regular coffee. It's terrible.
You got this place like on its ears. What's going on? All right, let's give out the $25 gift card.
You know what, John Michael, he was asking about you know, the best vehicle. I assume that he's in the market for another vehicle. John Michael, you're going to need that checked out. So we gave somebody else maybe a couple weeks ago. They were looking at a new car. We'll give you actually a full pre-purchase inspection, which is about $120 instead of the $25 gift card.
Wow.
Just you didn't leave a contact number, so we'll just do our best to try to track you down through Facebook, and you got a $121 credit with us.
It's always good. It's always good hanging out with you here.
Thanks, man.
James Stevenson. Just one more heads up. You can log on to James's Facebook page and drop your questions there. Precision Auto Repair. You can also log on to Lazer99.3.com. You can also log on to precisionautorepair.biz.
B as in boy. Yep.
Pleasure hanging out, man.
Thanks, man.